the biggest problem is their points. And I think the way they have their points structured, the way they're laid out.
The PGA Tour is basically shooting itself in the foot. What's the Corn Ferry Tour mean now? Right now, when we look at the designated events, you're going to have designated events, and then you're also going to have the full field events. That's now basically the Corn Ferry Tour. They're turning the PGA Tour into its own mini tour.
That's why people are like, oh, it's so cool they're adding a Myrtle Beach event. Well, they had to.
I say it's a mini tour.
They're essentially saying, oh, you got to go to another mini tour to qualify for this event.
Yeah.
Welcome back to episode 21 of the Loggerhead Golf Podcast. New face in the studio today, our general manager and PGA professional, Steve Beecroft.
Stevie.
Thanks for having
Steve.
me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to do a quick recap of BMW, highlight some awesome points of what happened leading into the Ryder Cup, and I'll let you guys take it away.
I thought the BMW was set up perfect. I mean, all 12 Ryder Cup players played in that event.
There's only 12 Ryder Cup players? You mean all 12 European Ryder Cup players?
Correct.
Yeah.
All 12 Ryder Cup team
European
members.
Because our players aren't playing.
No, they're not. They're not.
Oh, well.
But and they paired them together in the first two rounds.
Yeah.
They had them. They had 4 threesomes, all Ryder Cuppers, European Ryder Cuppers together.
We get it.
They've done a great job with team building over there, and they all performed well. Made the cut. I think all 12 made the cuts. Mm-hmm. You had several in the top 10. Terrell Hatton finished second.
Hatton felt like he had that tournament won.
Yeah.
Seven guys in the top 10 made that are on the Ryder Cup
How
team.
many?
7. Okay, all right.
It wasn't Lugberg was winning it after Saturday.
Well, pace of play got to him. That Saturday round, I think they were on 15 at like 5 hours and 20 minutes.
I think that's kind of just Wentworth's golf course, though. I mean,
It's
the layout of
it's a small golf course for sure. Really close, kind of green to tee. But yeah, I mean that top 4. It's just like I kept looking at it. I was like Ryder Cup, Ryder Cup, Ryder Cup. But obviously, pretty cool putt. Ryan Fox made a probably 15-foot putt to win.
I say it's actually cool too. Like that par 5, typically everyone goes for it, and he hit his tee shot in the rough and said he didn't have a particularly great lie, so he played out into the fairway, laid up, and he hit a good wedge shot and made the putt. So applaud him for sticking to your guns and playing a smart shot.
I also like to say too, I mean, kudos to captain Luke Donald, like tied for 30th place.
Yeah.
He also made the cut.
He has nothing better to do. I mean, 2 weeks before the Ryder Cup.
No.
He's
just like Zach Johnson.
I think he's still technically, he might, I guess, being the European Ryder Cup captain now, does that give him like honorary status? But he's also,
Basically,
he has to be playing for status too at some point, right?
Well, you may be.
I mean, and this bodes the question, I don't know if we've ever asked, should active players be Ryder Cup captains?
Well, if the trend goes the way it is, you're going to have playing captains pretty soon because you're running out of choices.
Well, I mean, Tiger Woods at the President's Cup not that long ago. That was one at Royal Melbourne. I mean,
Tiger Woods never playing a full season ever again. So.
No, I know, but I'm just saying a playing captain that's happened recently, and I mean, but they started with playing captains, so I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing to have playing captains.
I don't know. Maybe captain's choice is pretty interesting though.
It would, yeah.
But I thought for team building wise, I mean, the Europeans have to be on a high right now. I mean, they played the course on Monday together, then they went to the BMW Championship. They had an awesome week of golf, and then they are feeling it right now. So,
hey, I've already said I'm the turncoat here.
Yeah.
They are looking like clear fate. Like even though the odds still say that USA has a small margin, I think European are clear favorites.
I say Team Europe's definitely looking strong. Now let's hit on kind of what we've noticed with the lack of competitive play for U.S. Ryder Cup players.
I don't care that they all went over there last week and spent 4 days. That's not in a tournament setting.
I'm just competitive play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like Justin Thomas and Max Homa were the only team members to play this week.
But let's face
it, captain played.
Yeah, but let's face it, JT's not playing to practice for Ryder Cup. He's playing to keep status on PGA Tour.
Only moved up 2 spots.
But I mean, look at what the PGA Tour did. I mean, it's been 5. They're going to play one event in 5 weeks from the FedEx Championship.
Yeah,
and that was what just happened last week, the Fortinet, tournament.
I think that's just,
and then they're not playing again for another 2 weeks.
That said, why weren't more of these guys overplaying in the BMW?
I don't know. I'd say the PGA Tour, the way they've set their schedule, they've always
Billy
had that
Horschel,
problem.
Tom Kim, Billy Horschel, there was quite a few PGA Tour players still over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the biggest tournaments of the year. Anyway.
I guess the question it gets bowed to, the guys that are trying to, like Jimmy Walker was very outspoken on this point system. This fall is just, it's just crazy. Trying to keep your card, who gets in, who doesn't get in, but if you sit back and say, okay, well, if the fall is for the guys that are outside the top 70.
Top 50.
No. Actually, trying to keep your card. Well, it's top 50, right? To get into top 50 to get into
events.
Saying it designated events.
Two designated
right, events. Before everything starts. But if you're trying to keep your card, then why are they the ones being penalized for the schedule? I mean, you've got 7 events for the fall, but yet you've played one. You're going to take 2 weeks off because of the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Which none of them are qualified for the Ryder Cup.
Right.
Well, except JT. But, and
Max Homa.
Well, no,
Max
doesn't need to play.
Max
Homa
only played because he's won it the last 2 times.
Correct. But I mean,
free money,
Just the way the schedule's played out, and then they come back, it's like, I just don't think the PGA Tour did him any favors.
Okay, so I
the
guess
PGA Tour's not worried about those guys, though. And at the same time,
I'm talking about for the Ryder Cup.
I'm talking about for the 50 to 70 players.
Yeah, well, let's lead
them.
into just talking about the silly season now.
Yeah, well, my take on a silly season is the PGA Tour is basically shooting itself in the foot. What's the Corn Ferry Tour mean now? Right now, when we look at the designated events, you're going to have designated events, and then you're also going to have the full field events. That's now basically the Corn Ferry Tour. They're turning the PGA Tour into its own mini tour.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
for 1 year.
I watched some of the Corn Ferry Tour over the weekend too. And then 30 guys are coming on. So it's like, okay, well, if you look at
where are they fitting in?
Then you're going to have 5 coming in from Tour School because that's back now.
Yeah.
PGA Tour School. So you don't really know where you're going to fit in. And it's like, how do you fight so hard from 185 to get to like 144? And then where do the 30 guys come in? What is their status?
Well, let's look at the guys like Ben Coles, who's leading the Corn Ferry right now. He has how many wins? 3 or 4 wins. He's going to come in and yes, he's going to get into the players because he's going to finish in the top 10 in the season points list. But he's not going to be able to get to play Riviera. He's not going to be able to get to play the Memorial.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to get to play
Quail. That's
fine. But also at the same time though, it's like in the past, if you got in and you're in the 125, you're in those events.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Now they're essentially saying, oh, you got to go to another mini tour to qualify for those events.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest problem is their points. And I think the way they have their points structured, the way they're laid out. I mean, it's like if you finish 20th in a PGA Tour event, you've done a pretty good job, but you've got no reward for it.
What I think will be hilarious is next year if a player who is not in that, who plays the full field events, ends up winning the FedEx Cup Championship.
Sorry,
they just play all the full field events and rack them up.
Oh, and doesn't play in any other event,
right?
Well, that's the way they're setting it up for.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
that's why people are like, oh, it's so cool they're adding a Myrtle Beach event. Well, they had to.
I say it's a mini tour.
Tournament, the other part too is that the guys that are in the top 50, I wholeheartedly believe should not be there. They should not be allowed to play. Their season should be over.
Yeah,
because they're
diluting the points.
You're telling guys and I thought Jimmy Walker was dead on in his comments. How he went after the PGA Tour.
He is not fired up about the triangle,
but I think he wants another leg of the triangle.
He wants a stool.
For him saying that he's got to fight for everything he has, and then all of a sudden you got guys coming in that are just. I get it. Sahith Theegala, his first win on tour. What an opportunity!
Second year on tour.
Yeah, it's
correct.
Big for him.
It's big for him. But when you tell me I got to play and fight for my positioning, and then somebody's going to come in and take the 500 points that he doesn't need, he doesn't get.
Yeah, I say it goes to nothing.
I mean, SH Kim, technically, if the other guys weren't there.
He's the only winner this week.
Yes.
He's the only guy that moved up more than 15 places in the FedEx Cup, which bodes the question, is the point system is it working?
No.
Because SH Kim, Justin Thomas got 110 points and only moved up 2 spots.
Yeah.
So it's like you essentially, if you're outside the top, I would say outside top 80. If you're outside the top 80, you're trying to get into that top 50 to 60 number because that's essentially the only thing they're playing for.
Yeah.
You have to top 5
every week.
I mean,
You got to play all 7 fall events and top 5.
Well, at least throw one in there to where you can make more than 200, 300 points, like SH Chem did.
Right.
And then hope for the best
So
after
that's basically a win then.
Yes. But, yeah, I mean, I will say, like, it is a double-edged sword. I personally think the point system right now is rewarding good play. I think winning should matter. Now, great for Sahith Theegala getting his first win. He's been super close. He had the heartbreaking loss at Phoenix. I mean, he cried his eyes out after the tournament. So, like, for him to finally get it done, go out and win the tournament, commanding like that, sit out the rest of the season, guys. If you're not in the top 50, I get it. You're playing for your livelihood. Money does matter.
Sahith was from that area. So that was a home event for him.
Money does matter.
Well, 1.3 million. Yeah, I think I'll play for that.
Yes,
for sure. Well, so what if the points just reset at the end of the
I think that's what it should do.
The fall season has its own points.
Well, I guess I want to see what they do next year, because if you're telling me that we reset for the calendar year to go through the FedEx Cup, and the FedEx Cup ends in August, almost September 1, then what are we doing?
Right.
Because you don't need the fall series.
No.
So, and again, now it's going to become an issue with guys that obviously they've got to play good early and hang on, because the season is definitely short now.
I fully believe right now, and Kyle, you can probably elaborate on this. The PGA Tour, the PGA Tour is finally getting exposed that they didn't have their ducks in a row, Miles, and they didn't have their ducks in a row, and they really don't know what they're doing, because what's shaping up to now that PIF owns the PGA Tour, where do you think after next year what's going to happen? Team events
in the fall.
It'll be the live season in the fall. Because right now, the system is not working. It makes no sense. The players don't even know what's going on.
They're not going to be able to do that because they haven't had a pathway for the live guys to come in and compete in these events.
There's going to be, because these events don't make sense.
And the Arnold Palmer, the players. So it's like, where are they going to shake out? Where's Brooks Koepka going to shake out? And, DeChambeau and all the guys from live.
There will be a pathway. The problem is they can't say anything right now because they're not the governing. The current PGA is still governing their own tour. Yeah. It's not until 2024 PIF takes over.
What this shows is the PGA Tour did not have it figured out.
No.
Well, look at the week before Wyndham. You had players came out of nowhere moving up 60 spots for playing good for 1 week.
Yeah.
But now you've got players winning in the fall season, and they don't move up nowhere.
Yeah,
they go nowhere.
Spots. Yeah.
So to me, I guess what was before Wyndham? What was the tournament before then?
I don't know why.
Anyway, the week before you had 4 guys that were outside the top 125 all make it to Wyndham based off of playing 1 week of golf.
Well, it's very volatile down at the bottom too.
Yeah.
40 points.
But
is
now
a
the
big
fall
jump.
season, this is the bottom though.
Right.
And it's not as volatile now.
Well, unfortunately, it's,
and that's what I'll say is, going forward, I really don't care for that 50 to 60 number. I'm looking at the guys that are in the 120 to 150, because 150 gets you conditional status at the end of this year. Right. AKA, you're going to get into all the
full field events
next year. They need players. And then the 125 is a full tour card, full status tour card, but you're not in the designated events. Like Jimmy Walker went from 126 to 121.
Well, Jimmy Walker was inside the 125 at the when it came time after the Wyndham. So he said, I secured my card. I did everything I needed to do.
He fell out somehow.
I did everything I needed. Well, the points in the FedEx Cup, or I guess, no, that wouldn't have done him. But he was there, and he said that I qualified. I didn't have to play the fall. And then the PGA Tour comes through and says, no, you're not done yet. You still have to fight for that 125 spot. Because I think he got in on a money exemption, and he did earn his points at 125. He, like you said,
going into the FedEx Cup?
Going in the FedEx Cup, he was sitting, I think, at 125. So, I mean, and then it's like, well, my season's over. I don't need to do anything. And they're like, nope. Play hard. Good luck, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. There's a lot of big names that have had a lot of victories that are on that 125 bubble.
Oh, yeah.
Patton Kezire's back there. Cameron Champ's like 155.
So he's played awful for last year or two.
Trunk slam.
I mean, he showed up to, when I was out there working, he showed up to the event on, when did I go up at Wyndham? Tuesday?
Yeah.
He shows up, gets off the plane, goes to the course, hits balls for 8 minutes, and then leaves. So work ethic's a little bit of a problem there.
He's dialed in.
He was 8 for 8. Yeah. I can't get no better than this.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of looks like my practice.
That's a hell of a warm-up session.
Well, yours is due to another little area there, probably.
But they, and that's the thing. Now, Pat Kazire won last year, so he's exempt until end of 2024. I think Cameron Champ's still somehow exempt to 2024.
Well, you're exempt, but what does that really mean?
And that's the thing. I don't know what it means now.
You can fall outside of 125, or you can fall and not be guaranteed to events.
Here's the funny thing. We all
I think
know.
it means you still have status, but you're only going to get into the full field events.
Right.
Yeah.
We all
you
know,
won't go down the Corn Ferry Tour.
We all know damn
Not
well.
yet.
We all know damn well that Justin Thomas is going to play in every elevated.
Oh, he's
going
going to still get sponsors exemptions. He still has
He's a major-
past champions exemptions, and everything. He'll play.
He's a
enough
major
desert
winner
events.
last year.
Plus, I didn't realize either that the elevated events do get 4 sponsors exemptions.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
The elevated events
So-
get 4. Because Jimmy was upset because I keep going back to Jimmy, but Jimmy was upset because
Jimmy off the
as a former champion of Pebble Beach, he's not eligible to play Pebble Beach this year. He played in Pebble Beach every single year, but because it's an elevated event now,
He better get a sponsor exemption. Is Gary Woodling going to get a sponsor exemption into that? He won the last U.S. Open there.
I don't know.
But Gary's done for right now. His brain,
that's
he had
right.
brain surgery
Yeah, he did.
yesterday. They said they got most of the tumor out. So
Godspeed to him.
But it's, I mean, first event into silly season, as Steve
silly.
called it.
Yeah.
Good for Sahith. Good for, I guess, Max Homa. I mean, free money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just to hit on it real quick about silly season is, we've got Solheim Cup and Lexi Thompson's kind of like the big star there, but there's a good chance she loses her card.
But
like
she
her
knows
LPGA.
Solheim
But
Cup.
she's going to be fine because she'll still maintain her
Yeah.
world ranking points.
Correct. So that's where, again, not that we'll hit on it another day, but talk about a messed up point system.
Yeah.
Is she's going to lose her card at the end of the year.
But she'll still get sponsors exemptions in
Well, she can
every
use
event.
her one-time money exemption if she wanted to.
Right.
Still play another full season.
She'll get in every event she wants to.
Trust
she
me,
ain't got to worry about it.
I'm not a one world global system in anything, right? Especially politics. But the but in golf, why isn't there just like a one world golf tour? Like there's a professional top level, one underneath it. Go
Money.
from there.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
It's a PGA Tour. I mean, you can't. I'm not going to go on a tangent, but in every
As he goes on the tangent.
Come on, Steve.
I'll
Rant.
preface that. But in every part of society, there are organizations out there that fundraise, do things for said organizations for their benefit, and the PGA Tour is no different.
Yeah.
And Liv proved it. If you come after my meal ticket, I'm going to fight you, because that's what PGA Tour could have just said. Good, go on, guys. We'll see you later. We'll keep doing us. You keep doing you. But the PGA Tour is trying to take their ball and run with it. I mean, look what the DP World Tour is no different than the Corn Ferry right now. It really is, and that's a shame. They got a lot of money over there, and then you go one step further. I mean, you look at the Latin American Tour, you look at the Asian Tour. I mean, all these tours are supposed to be world ranking points of events because they're players from all over the world, but yet they focus on one and only, and they focus only on the top guys, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. And then 3 of the top 5 at the Fortinet were already in the top 50.
Right.
So, I mean, it's good luck to those players. I mean, but the PGA of America has their major coming up, which means the PGA Tour shuts down. And that's also what I don't get why they move the schedule. They move the schedule around because they're trying to make the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup almost like a pseudo major that fills in the void in the fall. It's like there needs to be more. There needs to be more.
Do you think it would be wiser for somebody that maybe like a Pat Kazire that if you think about it, if he dropped down to the Corn Ferry Tour and tried to get 3 wins on the Corn Ferry Tour to get his card back versus this point system?
But that's the thing. You can't use Pat and Kazire
I'm
because
just
he has so many underwritten
any of those
exemptions.
Guys, any of those guys, because
I would say more like Troy Merritt.
I say, but look at how deep the Corn Ferry Tour is too.
Is it though?
I mean,
is it?
How hard would it be to win on that tour 3 weeks in a row?
There was a guy 2 weeks ago that was sitting 30th in points that missed 16 of 22 cuts.
What are their winning scores on? What are their winning scores?
Oh, they're pitching.
deep.
Well, it's funny. I watched the corn. We were watching the
well,
Corn Ferry this week, and they're playing in Nashville, right? And even the announcers roasted their own tour. They're like, "Wow, we're finally playing a golf course that isn't a pitch and putt."
Yeah.
You got to actually hit golf shots here.
Maybe for future, I'll just drop it. If Jay Monahan's listening right now, maybe instead of
I don't think he is.
he could be.
I doubt it.
Like us, Jay. Subscribe. But if the PGA Tour would sit there and go, okay, we're going to revamp our point system and we're going to base it more on score performance instead of position.
So you think scoring average should be your ranking?
I think weekly. I think weekly. I mean, go out and perform. And if somebody performs higher than you, that's great.
Scotty Scheffler would be.
Well, that and
Sahith. Sahith
the
would
last
be up
12 rounds, his highest, his only round over 70 was a 72. Every round he's had in the last 12 rounds has been between 66 and 69.
Yeah. He's played well. Yeah.
Because I think what that'll expose is the guys that come out and make the cut. And I made the cut.
Yeah,
I'm going to get $17,000 for finishing dead last, and I'm going to get 9 points.
Sign me up.
I'm good with that.
Sorry.
But if you come out and you are that person that just barely made the cut,
Right.
you go out and shoot a couple 64s, and I have no chance of winning anyway because I just came in on the end. But I can really get my points because I played extremely well.
Well, even the guy
scored well,
that
I
makes
should
the
say.
cut last on the number and is in last place in a tournament, those weekend rounds mean something because if they shoot 2 good rounds, that helps out their scoring average
Correct.
and get some higher ranking for the next week.
Yep.
Well, that was exhausting.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, I was going to say, because good news is we don't have to think about that for the next few weeks. So we got Solheim Cup next week and then the Ryder Cup the week after. So don't have to worry about PGA Tour silly season.
First time ever they've played same year.
Really?
Cup and Ryder
Is
Cup.
that just because of COVID?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Where is the Solheim Cup?
Spain.
Oh,
Is it at Valderrama then?
No.
No.
Dang.
No. I don't think it's at Valderrama. Shame on me, but I was trying to name 12 Americans.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of them.
Is at least is at least the Corda sisters on the team?
One
think
is.
one of
Yeah,
Jessica,
Nelly.
Oh, I know Nelly would be.
Yeah.
So
Maybe they are. I don't know. But, there's a lot of good girls and women on that tour. You know, and then playing in that tournament. It's just there's just no vessel for them to be known. And
Also, there's not really like any brand identity, I would say, is the biggest thing they struggle with.
Yep.
But
Well, I think going into last week, what was kind of interesting, and of course everybody had a field day with it, is Justin Thomas finally played good. He was the right pick.
he had 6
You know?
weeks to practice.
Correct.
did he play that good though? I mean,
He hit two
better-
fairways
Yeah.
in the first round.
hey, you got a new driver shaft though.
He couldn't hit a fairway with a 5-wood.
What shaft did he switch to, Kyle?
So he switched to the Graphite Designs VF5X. He went to a new length, 45.625, which for him,
What does the VF stand for?
well, hopefully
Very far,
very forgiving.
I don't know. They always like all those little the DI and the
Yep.
XC. Those all have they're an acronym.
But I mean, I think some notes we could take away is obviously he has been struggling, and from a driver standpoint, which is what was his strong suit a couple of years ago, he's going in testing, tuning. Even though he's getting ready for a Ryder Cup, he's not afraid to at least see what else is out there to help his performance. He's not shying away and saying, "Oh, it's just a swing problem." It's like, okay, well, I know some of it's swing, but maybe that shaft doesn't fit me anymore. So he went an inch longer than his old one, and then went to a completely different profile than his Diamana.
He didn't have any other options.
Yeah.
So he was quoted saying he's looking for reason why he went a little longer is it's an instant 3 miles an hour more club head speed, so it gets him a couple more miles an hour.
I'm sure that's exactly why he lost.
hits it
That's why
12
he
yards
missed so many
further.
cuts this year.
But yeah, there's something else going on there.
Yeah, I mean but you're exactly right. I mean, obviously he went from being one of the best drivers of the ball, shaping it both ways, high and low. I mean, and then now he couldn't find a fairway this year, so he needs to try something.
Hey, there's nothing
different.
wrong with trying to find something that works better.
I mean, Caleb has had at least 50 drivers this year.
driver combinations.
Another one came in last night.
This is the one. This is the one.
And Caleb's exact words this morning: I hope I can finally get this head out of my back.
Is it a coincidence they're
time to
the same
retire
heads?
that TSI
Is it a
4.
coincidence him and Justin Thomas have the same head?
Yeah, they're both. Never mind. Sorry, it's about to be a low blow. But Colt Nose said this week, and it was I laughed. He tweeted out, where are you guys out about Justin Thomas's form? And I was like, he had 6 weeks to practice.
Yeah.
He beat Jimmy Walker.
I was gonna say, I mean, if he played well, he should have won that event.
He was just
At least top 3.
If he's a Ryder Cup.
based off his world ranking.
I mean, look what the European Tour player or the European Ryder Cup members did in the BMW Championship. They were up there in the top 10.
Much stronger field.
Right.
I think they're. I'm not going to harp on it, but I just think that this is just set up to where the Americans are just going to go over and get their brains beat in because, well, it's in Europe. We haven't won in Europe in how many years?
No big deal.
And we're not supposed to win over there.
Well, there's not a lot of pizzazz going into it.
From Team USA.
Yeah, at all.
No. Yeah, I was gonna say there's nothing
Compared to years past.
Well,
but yeah,
we'll see how we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But so something that happened with us, we've got our Breaking 80 finale is now posted. Let's recap some of that.
Yeah, finally, last episode dropped last evening.
Did Blair do it? Have you watched the video yet?
I did. First off, before we recap it, thank you, Miles, for your hard work.
Yeah.
I know that was a long series, and it was a grind, but what did you guys think?
Well, congrats, Blair. Breaking 80.
Yep.
It was looking iffy there in the middle of that round with the putting, but he got it done.
I think if anything, it really showed you, when you think, okay, 8 over, and then you go out and you start playing 18 holes and you start clicking off a bogey, it can really get away from you really quick. Because he really didn't hit that many bad shots out there.
No, Tee to Green, he played well.
Tee to Green
couple bad decisions, in my humble opinion, out there.
Well, next time we'll let you caddy.
So,
well, and that's
if I'm caddying for him and he wants to chip that from the fringe, I'm breaking
the wedge. I was thinking the same damn thing.
Sorry, Blair. Sorry. You hit a good shot.
And that's the cool thing. Obviously, Blair, unique situation. The whole plan was like, hey, we here are all coaches. We can cover all aspects of the game.
Yeah.
And then luckily enough for Blair, he had Daryl caddying for him, which obviously Daryl is one of the most positive guys on the golf course. So
he is.
That alone is worth a couple strokes.
I was going to say, Daryl saved him a few
and
shots.
And a really good putter.
And Daryl
he knew what he was doing.
Daryl is a awesome putter.
Yep.
Blair, get on that putting green, please.
I was going to say, my number one takeaway from it is, I would honestly say in that round of golf, Blair probably overperformed in what we expected from Tee to Green.
Oh, yeah.
His putting maybe wasn't as strong as what we expected. Number one thing for Blair, he could easily shoot in the mid-70s if he just practices putting a little bit more. When he goes to River Landing, he needs to be on that putting green, spending time on that putting green instead of banging balls all day.
And I would say, too, it's like, and we're going to elaborate this here in a couple minutes, but it's putting when you know the ball has to touch the bottom of the cup.
It's different.
So
there were a couple times we started to rake one in. I got nervous for him. I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it, Blair.
I mean, I think the series was great.
Yeah.
To really give a little bit of a glimpse of what it means to break 80.
Yeah.
But the stuff that you guys did in the background and the stuff that needs to be done from every amateur golfer or professional golfer when you are trying to play for a specific event or play to lower your score, to get in a tournament condition, it's different. Mm-hmm. Think about when we go on a Sunday up to River Landing, and you go through a couple warm-up shots, couple of this, couple of that, but then you go up to River Landing for a tournament, you're there an hour early, you're doing this, you're doing that, everything changes, so there's just a mindset when it comes to tournament golf, versus recreational golf. And then expecting to break 80, and he saw that when he went down and played in the World Am.
So you have to get there and experience it first before you can really know what's going on.
So I mean, kudos to him. I mean, the way from the first video to the last. Yeah. I mean, how he was hitting the ball. And that's a lot of hard work, right? Because it's where a lot of amateurs mess up and why they can never break a hurdle of whatever their goal is. They're always just focused about their swing. Kyle, you're going to be happy with me saying this. Putting matters. Yeah. Putting matters. Yep. And that's ultimately, I mean, he could have just blitzed his best score.
And we've said it before. What percent of holes do you play that you use to putter?
100%.
No, I mean, you're going to hole out every once in a while. So it's somewhere like 99.999997 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, my guess. That's just an estimation.
Yep. Well, I think, a lot of it too is that, when you go out and try to break 80, hit a score, and you go back and you say, okay, I shot 80, I shot 79, I shot 81, I shot 82. Not every round is the same.
Yeah.
And
every round is different.
Right. And until people kind of, I'm just on a big kick. I consider myself a stats hole, and where stats are
Everything.
And it's, you want to rationalize, okay, why did I shoot 81 versus 79? Well, I missed 2 putts. No, I didn't. I didn't hit, my proximity to the hole was not good enough for me to consistently, be there. It wasn't just those 2 shots.
I say if your proximity to the hole is an average of 45 feet, the likeliness of 2 putting from 45 feet.
And that's what's great about the game of golf is you go down different rabbit holes. And right now I'm on a stats rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you also need to work on
and
your
I've got a
putting.
lot
You
of
need to work
stats.
on your putting.
Well, the other side that people may not realize too, it's kind of like when you join the PGA or you go through a PGM program, you have something called a PAT, a playing ability test. So before you tee off, you know that if you don't shoot this score, you don't pass.
Yeah, you've got a target
Period.
score.
So that level of pressure is just way different than even playing in a normal tournament. Well, for Blair, right, this series is I've got to break 80.
It's kind of like a PAT.
Yeah.
This was Blair's playing test, and when he got on that back 9, Miles did a shot counter. You could kind of almost see, I think it was hole 14 or 15, Blair started to think a little bit about where he was in positioning.
Correct. Yeah.
And then how that affected a couple of those shots coming down the stretch.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, crap, I've only got 9 more shots left or I don't break 80. So, that level of self-pressure is, unprecedented.
Yeah.
So, I think that's something that people also need to realize.
Yeah, it was cool to be a part of. It was something cool to do. I know.
Yeah, it was a fun series to do.
He plays a lot of golf. He has great content on his page, a lot of different stuff. But a lot of the things he does, it was cool to see him kind of put that stuff to the back burner, really focus on his game, and hopefully it keeps growing. Right,
Plus,
he keeps getting better.
And plus, that's what you guys are here for.
Yeah.
The DB Golf Academy, and the Sand Putt Labs. I mean, your knowledge in this building is geared for those golfers out there that are listening to us, that come in and see us too. Hey, if you want to get better, if you have a goal for your golf game and you want to set some, come in and talk to us. Talk to some of you guys and, get on a plan. You want to win your club championship. You want to win your member guest. It's more than just going out and I'm gonna stretch a little bit.
Right.
Well, and on that note,
So speaking of member guest season,
Yep. Member
Nikki,
guest
Nikki,
season.
anything you want to tell us?
Boys, check. If I can get it out.
oh boy,
boy.
he breaks it.
Oh boy.
Member guest season. Bam.
Let's turn the logo to the camera.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Overall, played in worked many member guests. Shout out my fellow golf pros. I know that's hell week.
Yeah.
But played in my first member guest this weekend, and we were fortunate enough to get into the shootout and end up winning the shootout, which was
Birdie Eagle to force a playoff in the shootout, right?
yeah, super cool. So
I'm just glad there's no remnants of alcohol in that cup.
well,
Just said you wash it before you brought it in.
the
Pro shop sells nice trays.
Is this dishwasher safe?
I don't know.
I don't know what it's for.
Honestly, I don't. The pro kept saying, he goes, guys, please, it's made in California. It's made with lead. Do not drink out of it. I'm like, well, alcohol cleans that.
So you've got plenty of lead poisoning as it is.
But yeah, it was.
You guys aren't old enough to drink out of hoses.
Yeah,
Calm
so
down.
I mean, it was such a blast. I mean, we played down at Grand Dunes Members Club, and the staff was fantastic, golf course fantastic, hard as hell, but it was super fun. Played with a student that he and his wife never played golf before. A year and a half ago, came into Loggerhead. They wanted to pick it up as a hobby. Now they're obsessed. They play more golf than anybody I know. His first ever member guest, and I told him.
I bet Chase was pretty pumped, wasn't he?
Oh my God, he played so dang good too. Tee to green, putting, that's a different story. Final day though, he putted lights out.
Just wait till he gets all his invitations for member now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's he either has a target on him or a lot of people are gonna love to be his partner. So, it was super cool and that's what I loved working in the golf industry. Member guest preparation sucked.
I say member guests were always a lot of work, but they were a lot of fun.
But they were so fun
work.
in the event, especially with shootouts. Shootouts are awesome. Each flight winner, there was 10 flights. So we had 10 teams go out there. Usually you play it all 10 teams at one time. A 20-some and a 2-hole shootout would have taken 4 hours.
Like a lot of places do a knockout format, you know.
Yeah. So what they did is they split it in half, but we both played holes 8 and 9, par 3, par 5, and
so like aggregate score then.
Yeah, aggregate score for the 2 holes. If you stroke on those holes, you get your full strokes. So obviously, I do not.
Yeah.
I gave away a lot of shots this tournament, but watched a bunch of groups in front of me. Birdie 8. I hit it to 35 feet, made a putt on 8 to make birdie. Had the same exact putt in regulation, and I was like, I'm just gonna hit it hard. Drop center, and then on number 9, smoke a drive down there.
Like 9's a par 5.
Par 5, all water down the right, super tight fairway. If you just get it in the fairway, you have a shot at the green, all over water, and I smoke one. Get up there, we watch a group, and then everybody behind the green just erupt. We see these guys just jumping up and down. Assistant gets on the radio to the pro and was like, that was a birdie net eagle. And I was like 3 unders in. So Joe walks over and he goes, you got to make eagle.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, say no
pressure.
more.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's ultimately, even though it's a fun event, stuff like that. I mean, there's a ton of people behind the green. I hit an 8-iron from 189. I hit it right over the flag. I knew I hit it dead perfect, and get up there, had about 10-foot putt, and just dead center. I mean, I had the same exact putt in the regular round. I lipped it out, and I was like, I'm just going to play it slightly outside. I didn't even look at it again. I just put it in the ground, bam, and then we got to the playoff hole, end up, having an easy 2-putt to win the match. So it was super fun. It was nice being on the other side, but again, like, kudos to the staff. I mean, I know that's it's a hard week.
So it sounds like they put on a fun event. Now, what were some of the things you noticed or some of your takeaways from the event?
Well, you guys saw the first thing I texted everybody was, how many golf bags had golf clubs in their
That are from
bags
the 90s.
that are from the 90s. Okay, I know it's our business to sell clubs, but in today's modern age, yes, it's not just marketing jargon. Technology helps you. Please.
Proper technology fit for you.
Yes. Yeah. Proper fit technology helps you get new clubs. Because every time you turn around, there's just some old beat up hybrid, a couple chippers, maybe illegal clubs. But
how many bags did you look at that had more than 14 clubs in it?
I'll be honest, I was so focused on winning. I didn't
Fair enough.
Your vision was blurry,
You
but I
and
don't think it
Charlie,
was.
you
I
and
don't think it
Charlie
was
Sheen
focused.
over there.
my vision. I had the Sunday scaries for sure.
What's funny too is you get those guys too. They're playing with their '90s equipments, but I got to have that Pro V1 ball.
Oh, yeah.
I got to play that Pro V1X.
a lot of Bridgestones, which I'm like, did you guys not see my golf spot stuff? But I definitely think they need it. It was.
I think it just goes to show how, as much as what custom fitting golf clubs is in the forefront of our minds, it's not in the forefront of the average golfer's mind.
But I will say, I'm going to give a lot of
I
credit.
think I've had these golf clubs for 20 to 30 years. They're fine.
I'm going to give a lot of credit
enough.
to. There was a lot of drivers I saw where people I saw a lot of guys that were playing from the gold tees using an auto flex, and kudos for them for trying it, because I mean, when your speed slows down and you can't really generate enough torque on a shaft, stuff like that. There's companies that make stuff, and obviously
there's options out there.
There's options out there. I'm one of the guys we played our final match with. He had an autoflex driver, and he absolutely smoked that thing.
Yeah,
Paradigm head. I mean, it was. It's funny how everybody loves the driver. Everybody loves the long ball, but we get in there and change your irons out.
I say golfers are more willing to upgrade.
Add a couple more hybrids in your bag.
There's other golf clubs in your bag too.
Yeah, because ultimately, the member guest and club championships. That's if you're a member of a club, that's your majors, right? Now, as it alludes into what amateur golfers need to do to get better at golf, putt the ball out.
Yeah.
When you're practicing, playing with your buddies, your ball needs to hit the cup. Now, a lot of times, if it's like a 2-inch putt, I'll rake it. But for the most part, every time I play golf, I'm putting every putt. Because when you go in and put yourself in a tournament situation, you got to expect to putt.
You got to be ready to make that putt.
Well, there's also that thought process that goes through your head when you got a 1-foot putt on a Sunday
Yeah.
versus a 1-foot putt in a tournament. to where you just said it yourself. You walk up and rake it, or even just kind of backhand and, I can make this 99% of the time just by this. But then all of a sudden, wait a minute, I need to make this. It becomes a little different thought process because your process just changed.
Because when you're playing against Nicky Beecroft, you're putting that 1.5 foot slider.
I've seen you miss those.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm, and that's just the biggest thing. I think where amateur golfers struggle, I would say is one, be honest with your handicap. Okay, there's no benefit to saying you're a lower handicap than what you are.
The vanity handicap.
If you're playing in member events,
right?
If you're never playing in a tournament and you just want to have a talking point with your buddies to brag, sure, go for it. Have a vanity handicap that way. There's no benefit to short-siding yourself, because in a tournament setting, when your hands start to shake a little bit, things like that, you got to expect your score to be 1 to 2 shots higher.
Just if you want a reality on handicap checks, just go to any pro-am.
For sure.
And,
I know.
And just watch those teams, because you got the teams that are on the other side that have that, the little sandbagging going on. Mm-hmm. But then you've got every other team that if you come away with a 2 net best ball or 1 best ball, 1 gross, and you shoot 144, your team's handicap's wrong.
Yeah. I think my team at the River Landing Pro-Am might have raised some eyebrows on the second round.
Yeah.
They shot their handicap the first round, but the second round they played a little bit.
Well, they got familiar with the course.
Well, that's my partner. He played so good tee to green, and he shot his handicap worse than his handicap the first 4 rounds.
Right.
Well, they're
the first 4 matches.
Four matches, and then the last match just absolutely lit it up. So,
and that happens.
And that happens, and that's golf, because that's the thing. People need to realize handicaps don't define you, right? They define your potential.
Right. And plus, when it's a 9-hole segment,
and it's
a little bit different than 18 holes.
Also match play. Also match play. Because here's the thing: you can't get mad. And I'm not saying this is a hot topic right now, but you can't get mad about somebody's handicap in a member guess that's match plays. Because if 2 guys are hacking it around and you have a 4-foot par putt and they just say pick it up and you post a 4, what's the likeliness of you making a 4-foot par putt, Kyle? What's the average from 4 feet? It's like 60%.
Yeah, I'd say probably between 52 and 60%.
That's not that high.
As long as it's a 0 slope.
Yeah, exactly. So, on these greens at this club, there wasn't a straight putt ever. And they're rolling 14. So, and that's the thing is, too many people get caught up in handicaps. And it's like, well, the number one issue with tournaments and handicaps is you're undercutting yourself. Right? So, worry about yourself before you worry about
Easiest
others.
way to fix handicaps is to post every score you shoot.
Yes.
Yeah, but again, the equitable stroke control is the determinant. It's to the detriment of the golfer.
Yeah.
But instead
still,
of posting that 10 and having to take that 10, the max I can take is a 7.
That's okay. But I'm saying how many vanity handicaps? Like, I didn't play that good today. I had that going on.
I will also say too. I'm pretty sure they did
Or the
this.
flip side, I played really good today.
I'm pretty sure they did this for this tournament. Is they took your low index for like the last 6 months or 12 months. Which that's for sure
kind of
what
standard.
I'm doing.
Yeah, kind of the standard for your
major.
member guest events is to use.
Yeah, but it was cool. The pro came up to me after 18. He's like, "Have you ever made a putt in front of that many people?" And I was like, "No." It was pretty sick. But I kind of had tunnel vision. Like I wasn't even thinking. Like I don't even remember what I did lining up the ball. I just just walk up and make it. So it was the first 2 putts I made pretty much all week though.
It was a good time to make them.
Yeah.
So we got something pretty exciting leading into the Solheim Cup and Ryder Cup is, if you guys check out our Instagram, we are going to be doing a raffle. We are going to be selling tickets for a custom Ryder Cup Edition Stealth 2 driver paired with an Acura USA limited edition shaft. Mm-hmm. Tickets are going to be $20. So if you'd like to purchase one and you're listening on the podcast, you can call in. We will email you your ticket over. It is going to be limited, so there's only going to be a certain amount of tickets sold, so your percentage goes way up.
And I would say to elaborate on that is there's a lot of people have had access to these custom stealth heads. They're paired with just the basic Fujikura non-velo core. We're putting in a awesome aftermarket
$600 limited edition shaft.
I don't even think they have any left.
No, they only made 100 of them from what I read, and then we were able to secure one.
Yeah, so it's a cool driver.
Pretty cool package.
why not, right?
Custom head cover with it. You know,
May
it's
the,
got the USA
odds,
head
may the
cover.
odds ever be in your favor.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
$1,500 driver for $20. Sign me up.
Good deal.
it's gonna be a great deal for the winner.
Yeah.
So
Be sure to check that out. If you haven't already, subscribe, turn on those push bell notifications so you don't miss any of our uploads, and we'll catch you on the next one.
work on your putting.